Erwin Rommel, the legendary Wehrmacht general, left an indelible mark on North Africa's vast desert. After winning fame and respect in the lightning French campaign in May and June 1940, where he smashed Belgian and French defenses while commanding the 7th Panzer Division with unrivaled military genius. So swift and elusive, it earned the nickname Ghost Division. He was handpicked by Hitler for an almost desperate mission: to reverse the Axis fortunes on a neglected front, the African desert. At Mersa Brega, Tobruk, Gazala, and Ain el-Ghazala, Rommel earned a sobriquet that became forever renowned: the Desert Fox. How did Rommel truly change the fate of an entire front? And how could he craft epic tactics in a place where no one wished to fight? At the start of 1941, with the Italian army in full route across Cyrenaica, Mussolini sent Hitler an urgent plea for assistance. The Wehrmacht, at first reluctant to divert forces from the Eastern Front being readied for Operation Barbarossa, feared that a total Axis collapse in the Mediterranean would seriously jeopardize strategic balance. After several meetings in which Mussolini stressed the crisis and the danger of losing Benghazi, Hitler agreed to act. On 11 January, the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht issued the order to create the Deutsche Afrika Korps, and on 12 February, General Erwin Rommel landed at Tripoli with the first elements of the 5th Light Division, the future 21st Panzer Division. About 16,000 men arrived, equipped with 120 tanks, including 45 Panzer III and 20 Panzer IV, plus many Panzer II and a handful of Czech-built Panzer 38T. Within the Italian High Command, relief at finally receiving modern weapons mingled with some fear of heavy political German interference. In parallel, the First Convoy War of February began. Italian-German transports, escorted by the Regia Marina, sailed from Italian ports through hazardous waters towards Tripoli, braving British submarines and vigilant craft based on Malta. Without secure control of the central Mediterranean, the newborn Afrika Korps could not sustain its presence in Libya for long, let alone contemplate offensive operations amid the desert sands.
Did you know that most people who watch our documentaries aren't subscribed yet? If you enjoy animated maps and history, join our community. Leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next episodes.
In March, Erwin Rommel launched his counteroffensive from the El Aguila line, where Italian and German forces had regrouped after landing at Tripoli. Despite British reinforcements in Cyrenaica, the Afrika Korps' rapid dash under the scorching Libyan sun completely astonished observers. By tightly coordinating armor with truck-borne infantry, Rommel broke the enemy lines at Mersa Brega and Ajdabiya. Within weeks, Benghazi was once again captured by the Axis, compelling the British to fall back eastward toward the Egyptian frontier. Yet Tobruk, a vital harbor, soon emerged as the true obstacle. Its Australian garrison, tens of thousands strong, erected formidable defenses and imposed a long siege that would drag on for month after punishing month. Without possession of Tobruk, Rommel could not move safely toward Egypt. What had seemed a series of lightning victories stalled into a truly grueling, morale-sapping deadlock. Meanwhile, events in Italian East Africa were collapsing utterly. After the falls of Keren in Intria and Asmara in early April, British forces, about 70,000 regular and colonial troops, marched on Addis Ababa. Within months, more than 200,000 Italian soldiers and African Askari were taken prisoner, effectively ending the long-prized Ethiopian Empire. Fascist prestige suffered a heavy blow, and Italian attention drifted away from the North African front precisely when maximum combined effort was required to break Tobruk's impasse. In just 24 hours during the Battle of Cape Matapan, 27 through 29 March, the Royal Navy inflicted grievous and irrevocable losses on the Regia Marina. After an initial daylight clash involving the battleship Vittorio Veneto, the night of 28 March proved decisive. Italian forces outright lost 3 heavy cruisers, Zara, Flume, and Pola, and 2 destroyers, Vittorio Alfieri and Giosuè Carducci, with more than 2,000 sailors killed. On 16 April, during the Battle of Targio Convoy, Italian escort units clashed with British destroyers off the Kerkena Islands near the Tunisian coast. The convoy, 5 merchantmen bound for Tripoli and 3 destroyers, Lucatargio, Lampo, and Balegno, was almost completely annihilated. All 3 warships were sunk, and every transport was either sent to the bottom or crippled beyond repair. The British lost only the destroyer HMS Mohawk, yet the overall damage to the Axis was immense. Fuel, ammunition, vital medical supplies, spare tank parts, and vehicles intended for both Italian troops and Rommel's desert formations never reached the front lines of the campaign. With the arrival of summer 1941, the Axis' chief concern was supplying the Afrika Korps with fuel, ammunition, and spare parts. At the same time, General Ettore Bastico, newly appointed Supreme Commander of Libyan forces, strove to sustain the Italian divisions, Trento, Brescia, Pavia, and the armored Arete, all equally reliant on constant resources to remain operational. From Malta, the Royal Navy launched unceasing strikes against Axis convoys headed for Tripoli and Benghazi. British aircraft and submarines based on the island sent an ever-growing number of freighters to the bottom, making the daily logistical outlook increasingly precarious for Rommel and his Italian partners. Weighing even more heavily was the striking power of Britain's fleet carriers, Ark Royal, Illustrious, Eagle, and Formidable, each able to launch 30 to 50 aircraft, including Sea Hurricane fighters, Fairey Fulmar reconnaissance planes, and venerable Swordfish torpedo bombers. Crewed by between 1,000 and 1,500 highly trained men and armed with powerful medium-caliber anti-aircraft guns of 4.5 or 4.7 inches, these ships allowed the Royal Navy to coordinate precision air raids against convoys while simultaneously covering its own supply routes. Operations such as Substance in July 1941 saw Ark Royal and sister vessels escort reinforcement convoys to Malta, thereby further strengthening Britain's overall offensive capacity in the central Mediterranean, tightening the noose around Axis shipping lanes, and steadily eroding Italian naval morale. In eastern Libya, roughly 150 kilometers west of the Egyptian frontier, Tobruk jutted around an inlet formed by the Italians during the 1930s. The port, a crucial node for resupply and coastal control, was ringed by nearly 50 kilometers of heights, trenches, and well-sited concrete bunkers, anti-tank ditches, and minefields, and defended by more than 25,000 stubborn troops of Australia's 9th Division with attached British support units. Between May and August 1941, Rommel ordered several assaults to smash the garrison and open the way to Egypt, yet the coordinated fire of anti-tank guns and heavy artillery repelled every breakthrough attempt. The German armored divisions, still boasting dozens of Panzer III and IV, suffered steady attrition from shortages of spare parts, fuel, and ammunition, and inflicted mounting casualties on tanks and crews alike. Attacks focused mainly on the southern perimeter and on coastal access points, but the Australians mounted effective counterstrokes, guided by aerial observation and a carefully planned network of intersecting fires that blunted each Axis drive. This blend of terrain and layered fortifications made Tobruk a fortress hard to storm. Rommel's failure to seize the harbor halted his advance toward Egypt and forced the Afrika Korps into a prolonged siege. With autumn's arrival, the North African front shifted dramatically. General Archibald Wavell, widely blamed for losing much of Cyrenaica, was relieved and replaced by Claude Auchinleck as overall commander of British Desert Forces campaigning. Simultaneously, The British 8th Army in Egypt received substantial reinforcements. Thousands of infantry from India, South Africa, and New Zealand were joined by new tanks such as the Matilda, the Valentine, and the faster Crusader, plus artillery, engineers, and logistics units. By October, the 8th Army then possessed considerably more than 400,000 operational armored fighting vehicles, far outstripping those available to the Afrika Korps. The strategic priority was clear: free Tobruk and drive the Axis back beyond Cyrenaica. To that end, Auchinleck launched Operation Crusader on 18 November, aiming to break the months-long siege and deal Rommel's divisions a blow that would restore the initiative to the British once and for all. In the clashes at Sidi Rezegh and Bir el Gubi, British, South African, and New Zealand units met the tenacity of the Afrika Korps and its Italian allies. Though numerically inferior, the Germans exploited surprise and desert experience, yet shortages of fuel and spares crippled the divisions. Meanwhile at sea, decisive encounters unfolded. On 8 to 9 November, the Duisburg convoy took place in the central Mediterranean, roughly 100 miles east of Lampedusa, in a night action lit by star shells and burning oil. British destroyers from Malta surprised and destroyed an Axis convoy carrying vital fuel and stores for Rommel. Tankers and transports were sunk, robbing the Afrika Korps of petrol, ammunition, and food. A few weeks later, on 17 December, the First Battle of Sirte ended inconclusively, yet underscored Britain's resolve to hamper Axis resupply bound for Tripoli and Benghazi at every opportunity. In 6 weeks, Operation Crusader achieved its principal purpose. The garrison of Tobruk was relieved, and Rommel compelled to retreat to El Gubi, the line from which he had advanced in spring earlier that same year, leaving a still undaunted Axis. The dream of reaching Egypt in 1941 evaporated, while the Regia Marina, weakened by convoy losses, could not sustain further expansion in North Africa. By year's end, most of Cyrenaica lay under British control, leaving the Axis in weaker positions and foreshadowing brutal future battles in 1942. By the end of 1941, neither side had secured a decisive victory in North Africa. Although the British 8th Army had broken the siege of Tobruk and driven the Afrika Korps back to El Gubi, Rommel still commanded a formidable force capable of regrouping and launching new offensives. Estimates placed the strength of the 8th Army at 100,000 men and 350 to 400 tanks, whereas the Afrika Korps and attached Italian units mustered 60 to 70,000 effectives, with fewer than 150 serviceable armored vehicles. In essence, both armies were exhausted after months of desert fighting and lacked the means to deliver a final blow. In East Africa, by contrast, Italy's defeat was now total. With the falls of Asmara and Addis Ababa, the colonial empire ceased to exist as an organized entity. The remaining Italian garrisons scattered into mountain outposts or surrendered. The disaster drained resources and gravely damaged fascist propaganda already severely weakened by reverses in Cyrenaica. As 1941 closed, the campaign entered stalemate. Yet Rommel was far from beaten. In 1942, he would attempt the most daring advance of the Desert War, thrusting to Egypt's very doorstep, hoping to seize victory there. Do you want to discover how the Desert War unfolds, with the Afrika Korps at the height of its power before the final collapse? Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. The next episode will take you to the razor's edge between victory and defeat, across the horizons of El Amin and the Allies' secret plans that will forever alter North Africa.